Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show podcast, coming to you from right here in my quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. I'm joined in studio today by Ray Ora.
Game day.
Jonathan Voitkos here.
Not game day.
And it is indeed game day, as 4 hours from now, count it down. Synchronize your watch, Ray.
No, it's yeah.
4 hours from now.
All right.
Ray and I are going to be sitting down.
John is.
Ray and I are going to be sitting down.
All right.
To watch, nay, experience maybe the greatest cinematic moment in history as Borderlands.
Man.
Now you're seeing this in 40X, right?
Oh, 40X and Prime and IMAX all at the same time.
The start of a universe.
Can't just do it in one.
Yep.
Got to do it all over the place.
First movie without a script.
First movie ever without a
First time ever.
Oh, man. Cannot wait. Can't wait to do our out of theater experience. Anyway, guys, good to have you here. Here's how today's show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics. Then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you guys have a thought, comment, question, observation, theory that you'd like us to address on the show, as long as we deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and use our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. Now, the good news about that tip link is that it can be used anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you happen to be watching the show when it's not on live and you're like, I would have liked to have sent in a question, go ahead and use the tip link and we will just get around to addressing it on the next episode. Also, want to remind you guys that tomorrow night, we will be doing a live stream starting at 6:30 p.m. Los Angeles time.
Live from Anaheim.
Yeah, we are going to be covering, although we will not be in Anaheim ourselves, we will be covering all the announcements as they happen. Coming out of the Disney Entertainment big 2-hour panel where they're going to be making announcements for Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, bunch of different things.
Calling it the Bomb After Bomb podcast.
Bomb after bomb. Yeah, I'll never make that mistake again for a Disney live event. But we're sure there's going to be a lot of really interesting things to come out tomorrow. Make sure you guys come and join us for that, and we'll look forward to having you there. All right, guys. That all down. Let's get things started here, shall we? We're going to start off with this. You know, the other day we mentioned that the first images came out for this new movie coming out from Jason Reitman, who I totally adore. Jason Reitman, a good Canadian kid, of course, son of Ivan Reitman. He's got a new movie coming out called Saturday Night, which it's a movie that's covering the 90 minutes leading up to the first live broadcast of Saturday Night Live in, I think, 1975?
Yep.
October 11, 1975. Well, today, the trailer for it dropped. Now, I'm just going to read what Variety wrote about the trailer. It says this: live from New York, it's the first Saturday night. The trailer for Jason Reitman's Saturday Night has been released, and with it comes a nerve-wracking look at the chaotic 90 minutes that led up to the first SNL broadcast. Jason Reitman and Gil Keenan penned the screenplay together. The trailer for the film finds Saturday Night Live executive producer Lorne Michaels, played by the Fabelmans' breakout star Gabriel LaBelle, fighting tooth and nail to get the show off the ground smoothly. It doesn't seem to be going well. Standing in his way are unpredictable cast members and a nagging studio executives. At one point, Michaels yells with passion, "NBC is lucky to have something as relevant as this show." Okay, look. When they first announced the movie and talked about the premise of it, I was fascinated because you could do an SNL movie every single day about the John Campea Show, about the 90 minutes leading up to the live streaming of the John Campea Show.
Yeah. It's a lot of Ray and Jonathan just talking crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Ray and Jonathan talking crap, a lot of chaos.
Paparazzi having a fight.
Yeah, the people pointing pictures and all that kind of stuff. But the whole idea about that last 90 minutes before the first broadcast, and there's something really beautifully poetic about the fact that this movie's coming out on October 11th, which is the date that the first Saturday Night Live broadcast went out, which is actually pretty cool. Listen, I'll tell you what, this trailer has moved me from being really interested in it to this is now maybe a top 3 most anticipated film of the year remaining for me.
I have this up with I have this up with last year's Air. It's all of a sudden something clicked, and I'm like, this seems like it's gonna be so fun.
That's what it feels like. It feels like Air a little bit, but at the same time, a little bit more chaotic
Yeah.
in nature. The cast is killer. Like everybody is just bang on. And I can't remember the name of the guy playing Chevy Chase.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. Tripped on my dick. That guy's perfect. The guy they got
here.
playing Chevy Chase.
That was actually that scene where he says that.
Oh, yeah. That's where he says, oops, sorry. Tripped on my dick. I mean, it looks incredible. And listen, seriously, think about this. I ooh and awe and go, wow, when shows like Supernatural last, I can't even remember how many seasons it last, 15 or something like that. Something ridiculous. Saturday Night Live has been on the air for 50 years.
Insane.
50 years it's going on.
Sheesh.
You want to talk about longevity being the main earmark of success? And listen, Saturday Night Live has had its strong eras and its weak eras. Absolutely, it has. But I mean, the fact that it's endured so long and still remains so pop culturally relevant and all that kind of stuff is nutty. And the idea of going back to watch a movie that kind of chronicles the 90 minutes leading up to the launch of the whole thing is incredible. And if you haven't seen the trailer yet, I highly recommend you do because it's pretty damn good. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think of the trailer for Saturday Night? I thought it was amazing. It's now one of my most anticipated movies left for the rest of the year. Whatever you guys think, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? For those of you guys who watched my show for any period of time, you know that Yellowstone is straight up one of my favorite things that's been on television the last bunch of years. Some people call it Godfather on horseback. Some people call it Sons of Anarchy on horseback. Whatever your comparison of choice is, the show has been absolutely phenomenal. Now, obviously, there's a lot of changes going on. Kevin Costner's now out. We got a new kind of continuation of the series coming, but they're going to give it a new name, even though a lot of the same characters are coming over, and Matthew McConaughey is going to be leading that. But we also have an entire Yellowstone universe. We had 1923 or 1883 and 1923, and now we've got another series coming. And it's now been confirmed that Michelle Pfeiffer is going to be leading it. It is a new spin-off series that's going to be happening in modern day 2024, and it's going to be called Madison. And it may also star Kurt Russell.
Sorry, all I could think about was
She-Hulk
Madison.
Yeah, wrong. Madison with a Y, but not where you think.
Yellowstone.
Deadline writes this. MTV Entertainment Studios and 101 Studio officially announced Oscar-nominated actress Michelle Pfeiffer will star in and executive produce Madison, Taylor Sheridan's next installment of the Yellowstone franchise, previously titled 2024. Deadline previously reported that Pfeiffer was involved in the project along with Patrick J. Adams, who I believe that's the dude from Suits. And Kurt Russell, who have yet to be officially confirmed. Pfeiffer and Russell had been in talks for months with their names first tied to the series in February and June, respectively. Okay. So let's get to the casting in a second. What's really interesting here is if this Matthew McConaughey one continues to move forward, and I haven't heard that it's not, we're now going to have 2 Yellowstone shows running that are happening in modern day. So they're going to be running at the same time. Now that opens up the possibility for crossover and all that kind of stuff, which is interesting. Again, I love this Yellowstone universe. I liked 1883 more than I liked 1923. Let me put it this way. 1923, everything that had Harrison Ford and the Queen.
God,
Logan's woman.
Logan's crush.
Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren. Every moment in 1923 that Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren were actually in it and on screen, I loved. Everything about lion hunting boy and all that kind of stuff was a snooze fest, but whatever. I love the universe. I love the story. I love Taylor Sheridan, the way he tells stuff. Now, Michelle Pfeiffer is one of the greatest actresses of all time. Kurt Russell is a forever Hollywood icon. These two possibly leading a new Yellowstone series that could be running at the same time. that the other Yellowstone series is running, I think there's a lot of possibility here. I'm excited about it. Whether it turns out good or bad, we don't know. But for me, sign me up. I couldn't be happier about this. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you make of this? It looks like we've got another Yellowstone show that's going to be coming with Michelle Pfeiffer and possibly Kurt Russell. Do you even watch Yellowstone? Maybe you're not a big fan of the universe. Maybe you can't wait for this. Maybe you're giving up on Yellowstone after Kevin Costner left. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Now, we all know around here that Ray and Jonathan's #1 most anticipated movie for the rest of the year is Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, yeah. Talk about Lion Hunter, boy.
Speaking of Lion Hunters, Kraven the Hunter is coming.
Yeah.
So they say. I think it was originally supposed to be in theaters like 5 months ago, but it's now coming out in the Christmas season, which, all right, maybe it's misplaced, but putting your movie in the Christmas season tends to suggest they've got some confidence in the film. It might be misplaced confidence. We don't know. But listen, despite the tragedy of errors that Morbius and Madam Web were, Sony is still the studio that gave us Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. They still are this thing that gave us Venom, which I loved the first Venom. Venom 2, which not everybody loved the second one, and I didn't like it as much as the first, but I quite enjoyed Venom 2 nonetheless. So they definitely have some stuff, some hurdles they've got to overcome here, especially after Madam Web.
Yeah, Morbius and Madam Web.
Yeah.
But I really like the trailer for Morbius. I do.
You mean,
sorry, for Kraven. But I like the trailer for Morbius too, by the way.
Bad,
The trailer for Morbius was good.
Should have left it at that. Just put that in
They
the
should have
theater.
just left it at that. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Just left it at the trailer. But I like the trailer for Kraven. I think it looks like it has potential. I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. I certainly like him in the role. Now, whether it's going to be good or bad, we don't know. But one of the things that we were told a long time ago was that Kraven the Hunter was going to be rated R. And now, well, it's official. This comes to us from Comic Book Movies, who wrote, as filmmakers have teased all along, Kraven the Hunter is going to end up as one of the comic book cinema's most adult properties. The film has officially now been given the R rating for, quote-unquote, strong, bloody violence and language. Anyone who's familiar with the comics and character of Kraven the Hunter knows that he is a fierce hunter, a skilled, highly trained killer. Kraven the Hunter star Aaron Taylor Johnson previously said of the film, so I think now's a good time to answer. He said this at CinemaCon. So I think now's a good time to answer the internet's biggest question. Will it be rated R? Fuck yes, it's going to be rated R. Now, the movie is still, what are we in now? August? September,
August.
October, November? The movie's still 4 months away. It's not terribly unusual, but it's not normally 4 months out that we get the official rating dropped. A lot of times we get the official rating drop like 8 weeks out, whatever. And say I'm wearing a tinfoil hat. I am not saying this is 100% the case, but I do not believe it's a coincidence that they are publicly putting out the information now that Kraven the Hunter is a rated R comic, is officially now rated R. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're doing that while Deadpool is the #1 film in the world. Oh, that just also so happens to be a comic book movie or that's rated R. I don't think there's a coincidence there. I think this is by design. I can't prove that. I won't be shocked to find out that I'm wrong, but my theory is that there's no coincidence here. They're doing this to try to create an association. Hey guys, love that R-rated comic book movie that's out there now. Well, we got another one coming in December. Now look, despite what some people have always suggested and thought, the rating of a movie means nothing. I mean, it means absolutely nothing in terms of how good or bad it might mean the movie is. It really doesn't. You could have taken Madam Web and just showed more titties and it wouldn't have made and gotten the R rating. It wouldn't have made that movie any better.
Different.
Now, I could hear
Different
all the
strokes for
fans
different
across
folks.
the internet going, no, wait minute. Let's not be hasty. No, but seriously, I mean, it still would have been the same piece of crap, just with titties. I mean, it still would have been the same piece of garbage. So it doesn't really matter. And if this movie, Kraven, is the next in the line of Morbius quality level or Madam Web quality level, then giving it the R rating, all it means is more F-bombs and maybe Aaron Taylor Johnson's Harry Johnson dropping out into a frame or two. But that's about it.
Wow.
It won't, I'm not just saying, if the movie's going to be bad, it's not suddenly going to be magically better.
Right.
You're a fan of body parts, aren't you?
I happen to like body parts. Thank you very much.
I mean, in one way, also, it kind of takes some pressure off because now they've put a ceiling because an R-rated film is not going to do as well as PG-13. So they've capped a little bit, you know.
Now, their hope, of course, is that by making Kraven more visceral, more grotesque, more gory, more bloody, more F-bombs, they're hoping that will appeal to more people. So they're hoping maybe as an R-rated film will do better than it would have if it was a PG-13. And maybe there's an argument to be made for that. Look, all I know is this. I, for one, am looking forward to this movie. Now, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad. I simply don't know. But I am looking forward to finding out. I'm hoping Sony is going to give us their next Into the Spider-Verse, Venom, Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 2. I'm hoping they're about to give us the next one of those and not our next Madam Web.
Yeah.
Because if it is Madam Web, the R ain't going to save it.
They gotta not. I'm hoping they don't take themselves too seriously with this IP, and I hope we get a little taste of kind of like a John Wicky type of action if they're gonna go for it.
Well, I mean, the trailer itself seemed to hint that they're not going to take it too seriously, right? Like, it's definitely going to have heavy, dark, violent, murderous moments.
Sure.
But at the same time, they're going to try to balance it out a little bit, keep it, throwing some lightness here and there to try and not take itself too seriously. Look, if they can, there is a balance to be found here that if they strike the right chord, this can be successful. Whether they do it or not, I don't know. We'll have to find out, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Kraven the Hunter, it's now official, even though we kind of knew it already, but it's official now. It is R-rated. Do you agree with me that it's not a coincidence that they're dropping this news officially as Deadpool's in the theaters? Maybe it totally is. Are you more excited that it's rated R? Does it do nothing to move the needle for you? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about a couple things here, including Zack Snyder's. Remember they were going to do a whole universe of the Army of the Dead on Netflix? Well, Netflix has apparently killed it. And the reviews, the actual reviews are now out for Borderlands. It's holding a 3%. John, did you say 30%? No, I didn't say 30. I said 3. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a quick second to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. Speaking of Harry Johnson's, our friends, and you need them, at Manscaped. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's episode, Manscaped. Sizzle alert, this summer, let the only thing that's smoking at your barbecue be the grill, not your grooming game. Get ready for the ultimate cookout season with Manscaped. Whether you're flipping burgers or cannonballing into the pool, make sure your meat looks neat with the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. Head to manscaped.com and use the code Campea for 20% off and free shipping. Now, come on, guys, if you're like me, you used to do your grooming the old barbaric way. You know, using the clippers on your electric shaver, it never did a good job and always left me screaming out several profanities. So like me, you know that you need the Performance Package 5.0 Ultra. The Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra is perfect for achieving that crisp, clean, and confident look for your barbecues and beach days. The Weed Whacker 2.0, guys, keep your ears and nose as tidy as your hedges next door with our Weed Whacker 2.0 ear and nose hair trimmer. And you get Crop Soother Ball Aftershave Lotion, Crop Preserver, Anti anti-chafing ball deodorant. And Boxers 2.0, the ultimate supplement to those hot summer days, equipped with the signature jewel pouch to protect your meatballs wherever the heat takes you. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Campea at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use that code Campea. Manscaped, the perfect way to get your patties sizzling hot this summer. And thank you to our friends at Manscaped for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, Zack Snyder has, well, at least in theory, moved on from the DC cinematic universe and all that kind of stuff. And he's now made a few things since. And the first thing he did after he left DC was a little movie that I actually quite enjoyed called Army of the Dead. Not everybody loved it, and that's fine. And I don't think it was like one of the best films of the year, but I had a lot of fun with this little movie. I thought it was a really, and I'm one of these guys that's a little bit over the whole zombie genre. Like every once in a while, you'll get a Train to Busan or something like that that'll come out and get us excited, sure, but not a lot these days. Army of the Dead, I thought was pretty fun, and I enjoyed it. Now, of course, there was a lot of talk surrounding the movie that they were going to do way more with Army of the Dead, that they were going to almost do like a little cinematic universe.
Ooh.
There was going to be a spin-off movie, and there was going to be an animated show, and there was going to be all this kind of stuff. Now, of course, we haven't heard a lot about that lately, and it looks like there's a reason, because according to Geek Tyrant, Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead universe is now scrapped. It's gone. Director Zack Snyder has talked about wanting to jump back into his Army of the Dead universe and make a new movie, but it doesn't look like he's going to get the opportunity as Netflix has reportedly scrapped the franchise. The Wrap points out that Snyder had ambitious plans for the franchise with several sequels and spin-offs in the works, including an animated series, but all those projects have been canceled. Deborah Snyder pointed out in an interview that Army of the Dead isn't entirely dead, as there will be a themed experience coming to the Six Flags theme parks this Halloween. She said of that, it's going to be a really cool experience. But as far as more films and shows go, don't expect Netflix to produce any more of them. I imagine Rebel Moon is next with to be on the chopping block with those films being terrible. I'll be surprised if they continue with that sci-fi franchise. Okay, so let's stick for a second with Army of the Dead. And then we'll talk about what the further repercussions of this could be. Again, I like the movie. I thought Dave Bautista was really fun in it. I thought the cast was good in it. For a limited budget, I thought the visual effects looked really fun. Look, did it look like a $300 million movie? No. But for what they had, I thought they did a pretty good job. The action was exciting. I actually got a little bit emotionally invested in it. Again, to me, solid movie. And I was actually kind of looking forward to seeing more from it. Not so much an animated series, to be honest with you, but I was looking forward to seeing another movie after this one. It's gone. Okay. What are the further repercussions? Of course, because the writer of the article speculates that this is probably going to mean, because remember, they're saying the same thing about the Rebel Moon universe. They were going to create an entire cinematic universe. That this was going to be big and grand. And there was also talk of animated series and all this other kind of stuff. And by the way, lest we forget, the actual viewership numbers for the Rebel Moon movies were not bad. I mean, it might have been people watching car wrecks, but the actual viewing numbers were not bad. And I think we should keep that in mind. The movies were awful, though. I mean, point blank, absolute gutter garbage. Like, it's the first time I have disliked a Zack Snyder movie since Sucker Punch. I mean, and Sucker Punch is the only Zack Snyder movie that I didn't like. I've liked every single other one of his movies. And then along came Rebel Moon. And then when you started to think, whew, well, at least it can't get any worse than that, he says, hold my beer. And they put out Rebel Moon Part 2, Lips on Pucker. I mean, I don't know what else. They suck. And then I've had a couple people write into me and say, John, are you going to do reviews of the director's cut of the Rebel Moon? And I say, I'm sorry, how have I given you the impression that I hate myself so much that I would then go back and watch the director's cuts of those movies? They're terrible. They're awful.
You know, all I could say is that at least we know that the interest is there, either for the genre he's making movies for, or the director. It's just he needs to make better movies.
I mean, at the end of the day, he needs to make better movies.
Yeah, but the interest is there, at least by what you say for viewership. The viewership thing
was there. Is it there anymore? Because I'll tell you what, my interest in Morbius was there until I saw the movie. Ray, ask me if I want to see Morbius 2.
Do you want to see Morbius 2?
No. No, I do not. Despite the fact that I did have interest in Morbius until I went to go see it.
Well, yeah, maybe he swung his bat too many times.
Listen, and by the way, I was interested in Rebel Moon too. I didn't think the trailers looked very good, but that's not the director's responsibility. I didn't think the trailers looked great, but I was definitely curious and interested in Rebel Moon. And it was just so bad. So the interest was there, but I honestly don't know if the interest is there anymore. I just don't know.
As far as like them canceling this universe, I don't care. Like, I'll always be excited for a Zack Snyder project. I'll always be interested. I just hope that it gets better. I mean, I can only watch so much crap before I give up, but I have a high tolerance for crap.
Look, and hence us going to see Borderlands
Oh
later.
yeah, this might be
Ray's movie of the year.
Be the line right here. This might be.
Listen, I think, and I see some people in the live chat saying this out loud, so maybe it is just time to say it out loud. Because we've always said, at least I've always said, and a lot of other people have always said, Zack Snyder is an incredibly gifted visual storyteller. I mean, honestly, even Rebel Moons, as bad and as gutter trash as those movies are, you put those movies on mute, visually, he knows how to tell a story.
Yeah.
Right? He does. He really does. I can say the same thing about Sucker Punch. Terrible movie. Man, you put that movie on mute and make up your own story in your head, it's actually kind of fun. I think it's just time that Zack Snyder realizes that writing isn't his strong suit. Listen, a lot of the greatest directors of all time pick scripts and then work from somebody else's script and then create a movie from it. And I think Zack Snyder, I'm not saying Zack Snyder can be the next Scorsese or Tarantino or Villeneuve or Spielberg. I'm not saying that. But I think if Zack Snyder said, you know what? I'm going to forget the writing part. I'm going to find or have my people bring me great scripts, and then I'm going to make movies based on great scripts. And I bet he would become known after a few years of being one of our top 10, 15 current directors. I really do. Because I think he clearly knows how to take something and visually make it happen. It's just that when you're starting with some stuff that it's just, so maybe he shouldn't write the stories anymore. Maybe he shouldn't write the scripts anymore. I mean, I don't know. I'm just grasping at straws here, but bottom line is I'm disappointed to hear we're not going to get more Army of the Dead. I am a little bit disappointed in that. And I won't be surprised at all if the article writer is right and we find out there's not going to be any more Rebel Moon stuff. I mean, I have not heard that we will or won't. I'm just saying I won't be surprised if we hear that we won't. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The Army of the Dead franchise, which I was looking forward to seeing more of it, has apparently been scrapped at Netflix. Are you surprised? Not surprised? Do you have any kind of feelings as to what that means for the future of the Rebel Moon universe? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, buckle up, and let's get into this. So, Borderlands comes out today. Ray, good news. We are now only 3.5 hours away from when we're going in to watch Borderlands.
Clock is ticking.
Order popcorn now.
Yeah.
Oh, the question is there a Borderlands popcorn bucket?
Oh, yeah.
That's the big question now. Does it have a popcorn bucket?
Uh-huh.
So, gonna go see this. Now, we talked yesterday about how the first reactions came out. They were not good. for those out there who say first reactions are always positive. No, they're not. No, they are not. Case in point, the first reactions we heard for Borderlands. But that's one thing. Surely, when the full reviews come out, we're going to get a little more positive. I'll be honest with you. My guess in my head, it's like, oh man, I bet when the reviews come out, we're probably looking at like a 25% for Borderlands. I was very wrong. Because, as you can see here, it's 3%.
Oh boy.
3%. Now, granted, that's only with 33 reviews being counted, but these are from some like big outlets like Globe and Mail and stuff like Empire Magazine, The Wrap have all put out their reviews, and it's sitting on 33%. As in actuality, out of all 33, there's only one positive review. And even the positive review isn't all that positive. Let's take a look at some of these reviews, shall we? Rolling Stone said, "It's not a movie for critics, as the saying goes, nor is it suitable for consumption by most gamers, film lovers, or 99% of carbon-based life forms." William Bibiani, many of you know William, wrote, "The biggest problem with Eli Roth's Borderlands is that isn't that it's bad. It's that it's not interesting enough to be bad. It's mass-produced pablum." IGN wrote, "Borderlands is a catastrophic disappointment that plays like hacked-to-pieces studio slop, betraying everything fans adore about Gearbox Software's franchise and derivative, regrettable fashion." The Daily Beast wrote, "So drearily routine and slapdash that even an AI would deem it too plagiaristic." High on Films right, "What we get with the film is a noisy, insufferable, and embarrassing video game adaptation that can be seen as yet another example of studio-driven cash grabs threatening their audience like treating their audience like dumb cardboard pieces.
Gosh.
People are being too kind. But why though?" writes, "Borderlands feels like glorified cosplay where capable performers like Cate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis merely take position and feign emotion to get a nice group picture." Loud and Clear writes, "Borderlands is what an out-of-touch executive thinks the cool kids would find appealing. One obnoxious quip after another that feels outdated as soon as they're uttered." CGM Magazine writes, CG Magazine, I should say, writes, "It all just looks like celebrities participating in a Borderlands-themed escape room instead of an actual movie."
Oh man! And here comes the 3%.
Oh, here's our positive one. Like I said, there was one
3%
positive one.
right
Beyond the trailer, Grace Randolph writes, "I've never played the games, but I got a kick out of Blanchett starring in a movie like this and doing a great job. I do wish the script had been adjusted a bit better to accommodate her age. Blanchett fans will enjoy this. Not sure about anyone else." Even the positive review is saying, not
Blanchett
sure
was
how many
cool.
other people are going to like it, though. Let's see. Let's jump down to Globe and Mail, who wrote, "Tonally messy, narratively janky, and slathered with pasted over narration that reeks of creative indecision. The film is an embarrassing affair for even the most hardcore gamers."
Wow.
The Financial Times writes, "Has Roth botched an attempt to make a multiplex hit from an edgy nugget of intellectual property? Almost certainly yes. But there are faint, stubborn signs of something more interesting. Blanchett's charisma, let me try this again. Blanchett's charisma, unkillable, and occasional Larry oomph." So, anyway, it goes on and on. Actually, let me read David's from the Hollywood Reporter. He writes, "Since the characters remain one-dimensional, not much more than cartoonish gamer avatars, we're never terribly invested in their survival or their quest to get the vault first." IndieWire writes, a definitive worst film of Roth's career and another strike against AAA games brought to the big screen. Like I said, guys, it goes on and on.
I'd like to do a double feature of this and Madam Web.
I mean, that sounds like your punishment is
Oh,
go do a double feature of this and
I'm
Madam
gonna
Web.
have great alcohol and great food and just make it fun.
I was saying that if the rating was somewhere even at the lowest, 25%, there was a chance that I would like it. I mean, like I said before, Garfield is what, at 33%, and I really like that movie. So, but 3% is, oh God, that's,
That's embarrassing.
Ray said to me before the show started, when we were looking at the reviews, and it said 3%, he goes, you have to understand the name of the bar in the AMC theaters is called MacGuffin's. And he's like, I think I'm hitting MacGuffin's before we go in to watch this movie.
I'm so curious as to how it came to be. And we will find out later. I guess I will find out later.
I mean,
why
think about this. Save for the one positive review, this thing would have a 0.
and that review wasn't even about
it was really
about
just
the movie. It's about just the actors.
Just
Yeah, Kate
Blanchett's
Blanchett.
performance,
Yeah.
right? So look, and let me be clear here. I am not saying this is a bad movie because I have not seen it. I got to look something up
I'm
here.
very curious to see the audience scores, especially when it's coming from people who've played the game, who have like some sort of love for this franchise or property.
I know we were talking yesterday about it, the $15 million, what it's expected to make, and I said it could make 20 because it's gonna ride high off of the Deadpool wave. I actually, at this point, I might think it will hit more like 12 million.
No.
It may
I'm still
underperform.
sticking with the 20 though. I'm still just for that
It's
the
probably
morbid
safer,
curiosity, and it's brand new and it's not like anything in the theater right now. I guess you
be.
could say
Could be, but I'm
maybe
going with
Kevin
12.
Hart fans too show up. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, I was looking it up because I know Gotti, that John Travolta movie. I believe, and you can double check me if I'm wrong. I believe that movie has a 0%.
Oh, jeez.
But I don't think Gotti ever got a wide release.
No, I don't think so either.
Right? I don't think Gotti ever got a wide release.
58 reviews and 0%.
0%.
Yeah. That's the kind of thing we're talking about, right?
Oh,
So,
boy.
but I do want to point this out.
Uh-huh.
This is the screening that I'm going to later.
It's not the
that Ray and I
largest
are going.
screen, but not.
It's the Dolby.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Oh, yes, good couches means
That's about half full, right? Because I was because our buddy Ryan's going to come and join us for it, and he wrote back. I told him what seats we were in. He's like, "Man, your row is full." I'm like, "Our row is full for Borderlands." He said, "Yeah." And I was like, "Sure enough, it's got." Now I am curious though. Let me double check this.
Gotti made 6.4 million, but I don't know about how wide the release was.
Yeah, I don't think it had a wide release, but let me just see like the first the 8:30 p.m. screening tonight. Are we ready? You know what? No. Well, yeah, let's do this.
Do it.
We'll check the IMAX next. The 8:30 p.m. screening tonight
Let's do
of
it.
Borderlands.
All right. Oh, well, I mean, it's sort of full in that one corner.
It's the corner of 5. There's a party of 5 going.
Yeah, it's
That's tonight. All right, now and I expect to see more in the IMAX screening.
those 5 people are about to annoy the hell out of the other 2 people because those 5 people are planning on being drunk.
All right, let's check the 7:15 IMAX screening
Let's do it.
of Borderlands.
IMAX. Okay, the center's
Yeah,
good.
yeah, the center. They could all just get in each other's way.
Now, I am curious for the movie that's about to go on 3 weeks. Let's see where. Let me refresh this. Let me see where Deadpool is right now. Actually, the AMC site is freezing. So
Oh, good sign.
Yeah, I had some issues with the MC site today too. It wouldn't load.
yeah. So wait a minute. Can I get
Got
it?
it?
Oh, yep. I have it on now. Okay, hold on a second. It's working now.
Oh,
So let's say the 6:15 Dolby for Deadpool tonight. It's been out for a couple of weeks. I don't expect it to be full or anything.
Yeah.
No.
It is better than the 8:30 showing of Borderlands, though.
Yes, it is. So I don't know how this is going to happen. But anyway, getting back to the whole reason I brought up Gotti. And granted, we are only sitting at 33 reviews right now, right? So there will be more. All it takes is one more positive review to bump this thing up to 5.
yeah, you're right. This could be great.
A couple more negative ones. Because when I first checked this morning, it was 4%. And then a few more negative reviews came in and it dropped it down to 3%. But regardless of that, I think this might be the lowest Rotten Tomato wide release movie I can remember. Now, I'm just saying that off the top of my head. I haven't fact checked this. I could be right. I could be wrong.
Might not need to.
But I mean, listen, it's easily going to be the lowest for the studio, easily going to be the lowest for Eli Roth, easily going to be the lowest for Cate Blanchett's career, easily going to be the lowest for Jamie Lee Curtis's career, easily going to be the lowest, set the record for the lowest Kevin Hart career. I mean, it's I'm
looking at Battlefield Earth.
Battlefield Earth had some people that liked it for
3%.
Battlefield Earth also had 3%.
Out of 153.
Yeah. Woo. Battlefield Earth, I think is one of the top 3 worst films of all time. So we'll see. Again, I'm not saying the movie's bad because I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying everybody else is saying the movie's bad. We're going to go see it at 3:30 p.m. We will do not an open spoiler discussion.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine doing an open spoiler discussion for
Just
Borderlands?
do it while the movie's on.
Actually.
In the
I'll just
theater.
live stream while I'm in there. We will be doing an out of theater reaction. Who knows? Maybe I'll be one of the. What? It's possible.
Well, I
don't have to go along with the crowd.
I know. I'm just surprised you could finish that sentence without laughing.
with a straight face. So we'll see you guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? Right now, Borderlands is holding a 1%, 2%, 3%. That's a terrible count.
It's actually not that bad.
Is that, this is the worst
Yourself some
count,
credit,
right?
man. Yeah.
Anyway, 3% on Rotten Tomatoes. Whatever you guys think, jump down. When your Rotten Tomatoes rating is almost same as the number of testicles I have, that's not good.
Comes in close.
Comes close. Whatever you guys think, jump down in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is taking your live comments and questions. Got a comment or question? Fire it on in. We'll get to those in just a second. But before we do, we want to thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast, my mobile service provider, and they should be yours, Mint Mobile. You know when you discover a new binge-worthy show or a song that you bump on repeat and you have to share it with your friends so they can experience just how awesome it is? That's kind of what it feels like when you discover that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan. It's such an awesome deal, there is no way you can keep it to yourself. My last mobile service provider was quite good, but ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've enjoyed even better coverage, better phone clarity, and I'm paying less than a third of what I paid to my old provider. Say goodbye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bills to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions may apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And thank you to our friends in Mint Mobile for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to your questions here, shall we? Jonathan, what we got up first?
Anonymous says, John, you legend, what's your favorite Ben Affleck movie? Mine's The Town.
Ooh, The Town's up there. I wouldn't say The Town, but The Town is right up there. Might be... okay, Chasing Amy is also way up there. I'm going to say Argo. And I know, and I don't even mean that as a cop-out because Argo won Best Picture of the Year. Yeah, I get it. But, like, seriously, Argo is so good. So I'm gonna go with Argo.
What was that with Samuel L. Jackson? Was it Changing Lanes? Or,
Changing Lanes. Highly, highly underrated movie. Like, when they announced that Ben Affleck was cast to play Batman, and everybody was laughing at it, and John Schnepp and I were like the only guys on the internet defending the decision, the movie I constantly pointed to was like, look, for all you guys who don't think Ben Affleck can actually act, just go and look at this little movie that none of y'all have seen called Changing Lanes that he did with Samuel L. Jackson. Watch that movie and tell me you don't think Ben Affleck can act. It's a great movie. You should check that one out too. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got your name tipped. In the Meg 2, villains get chomped, in Abigail, kidnappers get chomped, in Alien Romulus, thieves get chomped. Do you have less sympathy for bad guys getting killed in horror movies?
Well, I think the whole idea is that most villains, you don't have sympathy for them dying.
Mm-hmm.
It's really special. Like, take Black Panther, for example. Black Panther found a way to have a truly vicious villain, and yet everybody at the end when he died felt a lot of sympathy for him. I mean, that's a Ryan Coogler masterpiece right there. Like, when you can find a way to have a truly terrifying, horrible, terrible villain, and yet when they die, you feel, because nobody, like Hans Gruber is one of the greatest villains in cinematic history. Nobody felt sympathy for Hans Gruber as he fell from the tower, right?
Poor guy.
Oh, no, he deserved another chance. Oh, no, right? That never happens. So, yeah, I think for the most part, we're not supposed to feel sympathy a bit. Every once in a while, when they find a way to let us feel sympathy for the villain, that's pretty special. All right, what's next?
Guzman says, Gio, as a Canadian man, can you please explain to me how is a donut cart practically a hospital? Hashtag justice for nice pool. What's the reference there?
No, it wasn't a Canadian thing. That was strictly Deadpool, because even Wolverine in that point was saying it. The portable donut stands are practically triages. No, they're not. They'll have a defibrillator in there. No, it doesn't. You're going to make it. No, it won't. Like, it was just pretext to drag Nice Pool out to get shot some more.
Yeah.
That scene to me is actually it makes, lest you think Deadpool is just a good guy, that was a pretty evil thing he did.
Yeah.
Not out of character for Deadpool at all. Not out of character. But that was a pretty evil thing he did there. And at the end, you found out why. The gold-plated. I was like, there we go.
Well, he did shoot himself, like, in one of the post-credit scenes. Like, he actually shot Ryan Reynolds, right, in the head.
Wait, to stop him from making Green Lantern.
I know.
Yes.
But yeah, so.
He was saving Ryan from making that mistake. All right. What's next?
Sam Fisher says, I know we don't talk politics here. That's fair. But the recent norm of Midwestern Tim Walz, former teacher and coach, makes me want a Veep revival on.
All right. So we're going to skip over the question. You can't, dear friends, you can't start off your question saying, I know you don't want me to talk about spoilers, but in Alien Romulus, like, you can't start off with, I know you don't talk about this on your show, and then proceed to talk about that. So with full respect, we're going to move on. All right.
Thanks,
What's
Sam.
next?
Your Orlando Informer says, I know we are still 1 year out of James Gunn's Superman, but isn't it a little weird that we haven't heard what's next, like Batman 2027 or Wonder Woman in 2028? I mean, if we wait for Superman to come out and try to make the next step, it's going to take longer. We do know the next step.
Yeah,
though.
the next one is Supergirl.
Yeah.
Yep, announced date, all that kind of stuff already given. We also know Brave and the Bold is coming. We don't have a date for it yet, but that's perfectly fine. Listen, Superman itself is still almost a year away. I mean, it's not... No. What advantage would we as an audience have? No, don't get me wrong. If James Gunn were to text me right now and to say, hey, you want to get on the phone and I can tell you all the release dates, I'd say sure. But we as fans, we don't need to know anything else right now. Like, we know what's coming. We don't have exact dates, but we do know for Supergirl. So
And who needs that added pressure of announcing things already? When maybe the ball is rolling and it's actually going, maybe we'll get those slate announcements. But right now, I believe he should just focus on Superman, and we could get to the announcing thing later. It's just added pressure. I always felt.
All right, what's next?
Steampunk Spider-Man says, I just watched Transformers Earthspark Season 2 episodes, and I didn't like how the show handled its Decepticon characters. Season 2 went back to them being bad in 180, even though the show was starting something new, heartfelt, and deep in Season 1.
Never watched it. Couldn't.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I never even heard of the show.
Earthspark, I watched maybe an episode or two. I thought the animation was cool, but I never finished it, and I don't even remember.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I can't give any commentary on that, unfortunately. But I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right. What's next?
Old Man Rook says, work nights and never get a chance to catch you live. I just went to Disney, Hulu, Max for just under $6 per for now. They're looking for their version of terminal velocity. It's increasing at $32 per second per second to see what we'll pay.
I mean, yeah, it is. Look, we all understood when all the different streaming services launched, we all understood the prices that they launch with are not going to be the prices we pay for long. We knew this prices were going to go up. That's fine. The price of services go up. That's okay. We get it as consumers as long as you keep it reasonable. But like these streaming services, we're now getting like each service is like increasing prices a couple of times a year. It's not even like, well, okay, it's November. So that means the next Netflix price increase is coming. It's like some of these services are increasing them multiple times a year. And they're going to hit they are really testing the patience of the consumers, I think. They're trying to push the limit to see how far we're willing to go.
But too quickly. It's like it doesn't even make sense.
Too quickly and too aggressively. So anyway, all right, what's next?
Old Man Rook is back and says, if you don't pay attention to the credits after Deadpool and Wolverine, you should. Cheerful Timothy, the PJ Queen of Saskatoon, got special thanks, as well as Ryan's mom and a few others, but that one got me.
Yeah, the very fact that the credits have Truthful Timmy, the blowjob queen of Saskatoon, which, by the way, I used to live in Saskatoon. I lived in Saskatoon for a couple of years. I have never heard of Truthful Timmy, the blowjob queen of Saskatoon, so I don't know if that was just an elongated joke. But yes, if you fall through, that's where I first realized that Kidpool is played by Blake and Ryan's daughter.
Oh, nice.
Kidpool is Blake and Ryan's daughter. That's why I go, that's Kidpool. She's the dirtiest. Which I thought was rather hilarious. And where I found out that Baby Pool was played by their youngest child. Obviously, most of it was CG, but they actually had him in a little suit there once and recorded the baby's voice. So there's a lot of very, very cool things in the credits. It's true. All right, what's next?
We got Anonymous who says, does anyone know what happened with Mickey 17? Like, I thought I was supposed to come out a year ago, and it's just gone. Anyone?
No, that's the Robert Pattinson movie, right?
Yeah, man.
No. That was not supposed to come out last year. Actually, at CinemaCon back in April, they had the director there, and why am I freezing on the director's name? It's the guy who directed. It's the same guy who directed Parasite, right?
Right.
And came out on stage. They talked about it, but it's not coming out like for another year.
January 31st, expected.
Yeah, so they said then it was coming out in 2025. So, and by the way, they showed us some stuff from this. It looks great. Everything they showed us for it at CinemaCon looked awesome. When I read the synopsis at first, I'm like, this sounds weird. And then they showed us like, I don't know, what was it, like 10 minutes of it?
Yeah.
And it looks incredible. Cannot wait, but it's coming in 2025.
Yeah, I believe in this movie so much that
All right.
All right, what's next?
Flapjack has a two-parter. Hey, John, what's the origin story of your Disney beef? Did you have a couple bad experiences at the theme parks? Is it that Disney prices for things seem scummy at times? Is it exactly? I'll be going to Star Wars Galaxy Edge for the first time this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yes, prepared to spend a pretty penny. What's your experience going here and your opinion on Galaxy's Edge in general?
My thoughts on Galaxy's Edge in general are, while I do in general think it was a mistake that they didn't take advantage of classic Star Wars when designing Star Wars Land, instead of doing some random no-name outpost. That being said, I still remember the first time I walked into Galaxy's Edge. It was with a special advanced preview group. We got to go in and see it before they opened up to the main public. And listen, the first time I walked in there, it was pretty magical. It was pretty magical. Like, because they also have like sound being pumped in. So like the odd sound of like a distant ship flying overhead or something like that. And it's not as good of an immersive experience as, say, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios. That does a much better job. But I gotta say that the Galaxy's Edge Star Wars Land, as some of us call it, is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good experience. It could have been better, but it's actually pretty good. I'm not gonna people who've watched the show long enough know I'm not going to spend the next 20 minutes rehashing the stories about how, as somebody attending them, I got totally fucking screwed at both Disneyland, at Star Wars, what the fuck do they call it? Celebrations, and at D23, especially screwed over at D23 one year. And it was just like, you know what? Fuck Disney. Fuck them. Like I remain a big fan of most of their movies. I am. And I'll look forward to a lot of their movies and I'll cheer for them and all that kind of stuff. Big fan of Bob Iger, obviously Kevin Feige, all that stuff. But they don't know what the fuck they're doing when it comes to putting on live events. And I will never trust them with another single dollar of my money ever again. So there's that. All right. What's next?
Amin says, I know you've been getting a lot of doomsday theories, so apologies in advance. Does Marvel have something equivalent to the Lazarus Pit in their universe? I just have an inkling they're using RDJ's casting to hide the fact that our 616 Tony will return. We'll still get RDJ as Doom, but I'm worried at some point in the film the main characters will decide that only Tony can defeat Tony, so they bring him back, resurrect him. Don't like that idea, but it's just been on my mind the last few days. I think you can get it in Secret Wars.
Friends, this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They don't need a Lazarus Pit. They can come up with anything they want to bring a character back. Anything they want. They do not need a Lazarus Pit. Now, I don't mind the idea that at the end of the day, they realize only Tony can stop another Tony or another Victor, whatever they want to say his true name is. I don't mind that, but we're going to get multiple iterations of the multiverse. There's going to be a lot of Tonys. Hell, we just saw a movie that we literally had 100 Deadpools. So there are other Tonys out there. There's more of them. There's out there. So if they want to pursue that storyline, and I'm not saying they are, but if they did want to pursue that storyline, they certainly don't need a Lazarus Pit in the 616. All right. What's next?
Okay. Vatsal says, hey, crew and John, I would like to know if John had to submit 3 super chat questions to 3 directors about anything related to their filmmaking or filmography, who would you choose and what would you ask?
Well, that would take me 20 minutes to
I know,
sit here and
right?
figure that out. But who would I send them to?
Well, Spielberg's definitely one.
Spielberg, the greatest filmmaker of all time, top of the list. Probably George Lucas, number 2, because he's George Lucas.
Sure.
And number 3, I mean, I want to say Scorsese, but honestly, right now, it would probably be Denis Villeneuve. I'd probably send a question to Denis. So those would probably be the 3 that I would send them to.
There you go.
All right, what's next?
Dennis the Phantom Menace says, this is part 1. Hi, John. Yesterday I asked about a possible Justice Society film for James Gunn's DCU slate, and you said you don't see it happening. What I meant to ask is, do you see James Gunn making a Justice Society film that takes place during World War II? Not, where are you? Not in current times. Take, for example, Captain America, the First Avenger, Wonder Woman 2017. If Marvel's upcoming Fantastic Four reboot takes place in the 60s, why can't there be a Justice Society film that takes place around World War II?
You could. I don't think they will. If for no other reason, then I think the thing you just brought up, I think it would be just compared to Captain America, the First Avenger. I think James Gunn would be a little sensitive to the idea of people saying, you're just ripping off Captain America, the First Avenger. You're just doing what they already did. So I don't know. Plus, they've already got a series of heroes that they're telling a story from another era, and that's Creature Commandos. Right? Let's not forget that's coming too. So yeah, I still don't think they will, but I'd be up for it. Like if James Gunn announced tomorrow they were going to do a Justice Society set in another time period, I'd be down for it. I'd totally be down for it. But my guess is, and it's just a guess, my guess is it's not what they're going to do though. All right, what's next?
Dildar the Glorious says, every time John mentions he likes Strange New Worlds, Rob pops a blood vessel and has to take out his neck veins for a walk. I think he's over it.
Yeah.
I think I was talking to him last night, by the way, about stuff he's got going on. Obviously, still working on his True Noir thing. We didn't talk about Strange New Worlds though. Look, Rob doesn't like anything Star Trek.
Modern.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, everybody has their preferences. That's his. I certainly don't like everything new about Star Trek at all. But Strange New Worlds, man. I honestly think it is the best thing Star Trek has put out since Next Generation. I really do. I think it's absolutely fantastic so far. Now, season 2 might suck, but I loved the first one, man. All right, what's next?
Sam Fisher says, why do I just know this Saturday night movie will have either Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, Saturday Night Fever, Almost Saturday Night, or some combination of the three in its soundtrack?
I really don't think it will.
I don't think it'll be that on the nose. It'll
No.
probably, if there's music, it's from 75, probably for sure, but yeah. This thing has to be fast paced because it's going to be
It's literally going to be 90 minutes.
it's going to be like the West Wing in a sense, right? Because it's all taking place real time.
Yeah, I don't think they will. No, I don't know that. But Jason Reitman, man. Jason Reitman directing this.
Yeah.
Jason Reitman's the frickin' man. I mean, I'm trying to think of a movie of his I don't love. Like his Ghostbusters movie, I adored. I thought it was great. Up in the Air, absolutely fantastic. Juno won Academy Awards. Thank You for Smoking is absolutely
I love that movie.
incredible. Man, I'll tell you what, and he's, add on top of that, he's a good Canadian kid, man.
Oh, I didn't know
Good
they were from
Canadian kid, eh?
So he was born in Canada. I didn't realize they were Reitmans for Canadian.
Yeah, Ivan, his parents brought them over during the war.
Okay.
So Ivan grew up in Canada, and Jason Reitman is Canadian, and yeah, I cannot wait for this movie, man. This trailer has done exactly what a trailer's supposed to do: get you excited, and this trailer made me excited for this Saturday night, man. I can't wait. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Michael Thompson who says, "Hey John, longtime fan here. I was wondering, do you still keep in contact with the crew from the AMC Collider days? Those were the good old days. Keep bringing on the filthy best, Michael."
Listen, there was, at the end of the day, it ended up being, I think I did a count of it once, and it was like 35 plus people at one point. So like anything like that, some of them, yes, I keep in regular contact with. Some of them, no, I do not. Some of them for very specific reasons. Some of them just because, we just went in different life directions. But some of them, absolutely, I do. All right, what's next?
Slade Wilson says, "John, besides movie rewards, what else could theaters do to entice movie goers to come out if we hit another strike or event that puts movie making on hold? Also, do you plan on watching the 10th anniversary IMAX re-release of Interstellar?"
No, probably not. I mean, I like the movie very much. I've seen it many times, so I'm not going to go to the theater to watch it again. What can they do to get people to come out if there's another strike? Like if there's another basically lack of product? I mean, I don't know. You're a movie theater business.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do things like, and they've experimented with these, live Sunday football.
Yep.
Hey, listen, actually, me and a couple of friends have gone to a couple of those where like we went to AMC on a Sunday morning and watched a game with like, that wasn't packed, but with like 50 other people in the theater and watching the game on the big screen. That was a lot of fun. The big re-releases is, of course, something they relied on a lot during the pandemic. But honestly, there's nothing they can do. If there's no movies to go to, they can. If somebody needs a transfusion of, I don't even know what they measure blood in, pints, quarts, units. Let's say units. If somebody's on the operating table and they need 40 units of blood right now, or they're going to die. You can come in with 2 units. That's nice. But it's not going to save the patient's life, Yeah. If another thing like the pandemic happens in the next 3 to 4 years, the movie theater industry's done. Yeah. None of them are in a position they could survive that again. Most of them are just holding on to life support right now. They're still trying to recover from the last thing. And then the strikes came. So I don't know what else there is that they could do. All right, what's next?
Crash Town says, "Hey John, been watching since the Red Curtain days. Love the show. I think when Blade says there's only going to be one Blade and Deadpool looks at the camera like he knows something. Just the vibe I got. Logan style Blade movie coming with Snipes. Thoughts?"
Oh, 1,000% no. Never. Not going to happen. 100% that's not going to happen. Listen, a lot of people say, and listen, I thought Wesley Snipes was really good in the movie. I do. But the movie also proved to me his time as Blade is done. Like, it's one thing to have him in there to do some quick, really cool one-liners and everything. And he looked great in the action sequence. Don't get me wrong. I really thought he was great in the movie. And I'll look forward to seeing him do other things. But it also made it very, very clear to me that his days as Blade are over. But it was really nice that he was able to get this as a send-off, rather than letting Blade 3 be his send-off as the character. You know what I mean? All right, what's next?
The Hutch says Deadpool and Inside Out were solid, but Kinds of Kindness and Twisters are the movies of the summer for me. I loved both. They blew my expectations out of the water. Kindness captivated me. Twisters thrilled me and made me happy. Great summer so far.
Why am I which one was Kinds of Kindness?
That's the one where
That
the trailer we didn't understand. With Am Stone.
Yeah, it's the
Remember, she's
creator of
driving
Poor
the
Things.
Yes. Yeah, I had no interest in watching that movie. Fuck them. If you're not going to tell us what your movie's about, then I can't be bothered to go see your movie. Sorry, not sorry. And you're the first person to write in to tell me anything about it. Look, again, this is the same duo that made Poor Things, which was awesome. Love that movie. So I have no reason to doubt that the movie was going to end up being good. Twisters was fun. I don't know that I would even include it in the conversation of the movies of the year, but hey, listen, I certainly had fun with it.
He said of the summer though, like
of the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Usually, where those ones are very what people prefer or like.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, we're all going to have different opinions about it for sure. For me, movies like Inside Out, I mean, Inside Out is so far above Twisters. Like it's not even a comparison I can put into a really good allegory. And so is Deadpool, that for me. But everybody has different tastes, and I certainly did have a good time with Twisters. Again, I'd be curious to see Twisters in a non-4DX theater, just to see how my experience is different, because it was such a fun ride watching it in 4DX.
That's a popcorn flick.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
Scoutmaster Kevin says, do you think a bad video game adaptation like Borderlands can undo the goodwill from Super Mario Brothers, Sonic 1 and 2, Last of Us, and Fallout, and return to the notion that they are bad like the Resident Evil movies? Uwe Boll, Atrocities, and Mario Brothers 93. No. You'd have to have a few in a row.
Yeah, I think it would take a few in a row. And quite honestly, I don't think most of the average movie-going audience cares much. They just care if they're not going to go, oh, this is a video game adaptation, and video game adaptations suck. I think they just look at a movie and say, does this look interesting to them? And then they'll go or not go. If Borderlands is terrible, and I'll know now in 3 hours, Ray, 3 hours, we'll be sitting in that movie theater.
Oh, boy.
If Borderlands is terrible, I don't think anybody's going to go, well, now I don't know if I want to watch that Last of Us show. I don't think there's anybody. So, and it's just one. Like, to Jonathan's point, if they put out 2 or 3 again in a row, then we might be going, well, we're back to the old thing. But honestly, I think it'll be fine. I really do. All right, what's next?
The Hutch says, Twisters is weird because it's a goofy tornado movie, but for some reason, it made me want to help with disaster relief. Like, this movie made me want to help people. It's special when a movie can do that. I was glowing coming out of the theater.
You are 100% right about that. When movies motivate you to want to do good or be better, that's something special. And if even one person, like yourself, obviously, came out of something like Twisters thinking, I want to be involved in disaster relief. I want to be involved to do what I can do to help other people who face, turmoil like that. That's awesome. That's why, that Mr. Rogers documentary, Won't You Be My Neighbor? It just makes you want to be a better person. That's why I love that so much. Yeah, when a movie can do that, it's really special.
It reminds me, last night I went on Max because I wanted to watch the third part to that Infinite Crisis. It wasn't on there, but there was like a new listing of a show that I've never heard before. It's called Eye of the Storm or something like that. It's a series, and there was a new episode, but I watched the first episode. Wow, it went over the was it an EF4 or something like that tornado, a firsthand footage. That is terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. If anybody's into that sort of like storm chaser reality show, check that show out, because I was scared, and I was shocked at all the footage that they had. Like of the car, there was an actual car flying in a tornado, and you could see the headlights. Like someone might have been in there. It's crazy.
All right,
Anyway.
what's next?
Terry McGinnis says, John, a couple weeks ago, you went over the most views for a trailer list. Most of those trailers belong to big IPs. One of them stood out, It from 2017. Does that movie making and staying on the list surprise you? How do you view that film today?
Oh, the first one's great.
Yeah. And it hit the zeitgeist. So
Yeah,
that doesn't
it
surprise me.
really did. It came out at the right time, and it did so much right. It chapter 2, not so much.
But I didn't like chapter 2 of the original one either.
Right.
as
So
much.
I get, but I thought the first one was just terrific, and clearly Scary Clown. That as a trailer that captivated, and a lot of people are familiar with the IP, captivated a lot of people. So yeah, to me that first one, I watched it again a couple years ago. That first movie holds up. It's a really good little film. I like it a lot.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
We got Claxicon. I agree with your one viewer who said the Void would be Battleworld. I don't think Doom would kill Loki, though, and not in an opening. I think we could have an excellent scene of Doom walking up to him as he desperately tries to keep the timelines alive, and Doom tells him he can save them. I don't know. I always hoped the Kings would play an off-screen role of causing the incursions like the Beyonders did in the 2015 run, and Doom has a way of saving everyone that doesn't rub everyone right.
I don't think they're going to use the Void as Battleworld. Now, all the pieces are there. All the pieces are on the board that they could use the Void as the substitute for Battleworld in the second Secret Wars story run. They could. I'm not saying they can't. They could. Absolutely they could. I don't think they will, though. I think that'll be something new of Doom's creation. I don't know that. That's just a guess and speculation on my part. I also have a feeling we're not going to see Loki. I've not heard that, and I wouldn't put any money on that. This is just a random me as a fan speculating. You know, I could change my mind next week, but there's a part of me that thinks we may not see Tom Hiddleston again. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But we'll see. Listen, there's definitely some validity to your theory there. There are definitely pieces of the puzzle there that could make that the case. I don't think they will, but you might end up being right.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Stubborn McShave says the Borderlands popcorn bucket is probably a toilet bowl. You'll have to fill it up yourself. I was going to say a waste bin, but that works too.
Well, let me just bring up the main thumbnail of today's show. Ray's already on that.
Soft
There you
serve.
go.
Fills with
serve
the soft
bucket.
serve.
I
All
will
right.
say, though, the Beetlejuice popcorn bucket is really cool, even displayable.
I still haven't seen it.
It's right here on screen. I got it.
Oh, is it there?
Yeah, there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
wow.
a pretty cool popcorn
Wow,
bucket.
what a fun.
I like that. That's pretty good.
All right, so we got Joe Adonis T who says, "Hi John, Jonathan, Paris, and Ray. I had a reservation for Borderlands today, but after seeing the tomato score, I canceled it. I was looking forward to see what Jack Black had to offer, but sadly not betting on this Black Jack. Bring on the filthy."
I'm not going to lie to you. I was never, look, I've said this whole time, ever since the first trailer dropped, this movie to me has never looked good, right? I've said that this whole time. I mean, I'm cheering for it. I'm an Eli Roth fan. Obviously, Kate Blanchett's one of the greatest performers of all time. Jamie Lee Curtis is an Academy Award winner. I personally really like Kevin Hart. So I'm cheering for the movie, but I've never once thought this movie looked good. So we got our tickets and we're going to go see it today. But when I saw the 3%, it increased my excitement to see the
Man,
movie.
You gotta see it.
I actually got more excited about seeing the movie as a result of the 3%. So we'll see. All right, what's next?
Okay, on to our members. Joe Star Gaming says, October, I'm seeing a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse live in concert at Segerstrom. I can't wait for it since I love the score so much, especially watching the whole movie with the orchestra and DJ Booth for the scratching sections of the score.
Yeah, listen, we always talk about on the show, right? That when you get a chance to go to these whatever movie in concerts, go. They're so much fun. As a matter of fact, in a couple of weeks at the Hollywood Bowl, the LA Philharmonic is doing the Infinity Saga in concert. the Marvel's Infinity Saga in concert. Now, obviously, they're not going to play all, whatever, 20 movies that there were in the Infinity Saga, but
It's going to tell a story, though.
Yeah, it's going to be told in pieces. I cannot wait. I'm so excited for that. So, yes, whenever you get a chance to go something like that, man, I highly encourage it. I think you're going to have a really good time. All right, what's next?
Okay, we've got Christian who says, any news about the Nemesis movie? The comic book is great, but nothing has been announced in years.
I don't think it's ever going to happen. I remember Nemesis was a comic book. I'll see if I can bring it up here. Was a book that I remember John Schnepp came to me with. And he said, yo, John, have you ever read Nemesis? And here's a copy of one of them. And I'm like, no, I'd never heard of Nemesis at the time. And he's like, it's basically this. Imagine Batman, super rich guy, learns all the deadly arts in the world, but is dedicated to chaos, death, and destruction instead of justice. And then you end up with Nemesis. I'm like, that sounds terrifying. And he said, yeah, it's terrifying. And so he lent me the series. And here's another one of the covers. Jeez. That has nothing to do with Joker, by the way. By the way, the thing just starts with him. The entire story just starts with Nemesis just killing a bunch of people for kicks.
Jeez.
Anyway, it is a fabulous story. Fabulous story. And this is one of the most loathsome individuals, characters ever to be in a comic book. Nemesis is like just loathsome evil. But it is a freaking great story. And yeah, a number of years ago, there was a report came out that somebody bought the movie rights, but I've never heard of it happening. And I'll be honest, I don't know how you make this into a movie that you can get an audience to. If somebody does it, awesome. But I think there's going to be, I think you're going to have a hard time finding somebody to put up the money to make this movie because I don't know they're going to make the money back. But I would so be there, man. I totally would. All right, what's next?
Joe Howland says, hey, John and crew, hope your day is going well. I'm so excited for my most anticipated movie of the year, Alien Romulus. It's my Deadpool and Wolverine. I have my tickets for Thursday. How freaking excited are you about the movie? We have 8 days, baby. Thanks, and bring on the filthy.
I wasn't looking forward to this movie at all until CinemaCon. And then they played us this big presentation for it at CinemaCon. And like Ray was there, I was like, oh my God. Aliens are back, baby. So excited. My wife has never seen the first 2 Alien movies. Just this week, she spent her evenings, working on her doctorate thesis, but playing the first 2 Alien movies. So she's like, okay, now I get it. Then we saw the trailer in front of Deadpool and Wolverine. And she's like, now I get everything that's going on in the trailer. I was like, yes, you do. I can't wait. I got our tickets for Thursday as well. Cannot wait to see this movie. I'm extremely excited for it. All right, what's next?
Stefan says, hello, fellow moviegoers. This will be the first weekend without House of the Dragon. Do you feel that the show stuck the landing leading into season 3? It feels like people are divided, like with season 8 of Game of Thrones. And I like you really enjoyed it. Keep up the great work.
They 100% nailed the landing of the season.
You can't even compare it to season 8 because that was a
series finale.
That's ridiculous.
No, they completely nailed the landing of the season because they did what most Game of Thrones universe shows do. The main events happen in the penultimate episode, the second to last episode, and then the final episode is usually there to set the table for what is to come. It was a fabulous episode. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait for season 3.
I can't remember what season it was, but the season where it just shows this is Game of Thrones of Daenerys crossing the ocean right with her fleet,
right?
And that's just how it ends. And you got to wait until the next season to see what happens from it. That's what it reminded me of.
All right, what's next?
Alan says, "Happy Thursday, Campea crew. Been rewatching the Men in Black movies. Love the first one. Felt like 2 was a miss, and looking forward to watching the third. Did you guys like the movies?" Sugar water.
Sugar water.
They did 3, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he hasn't seen 3, or he hasn't.
I
rewatched.
don't listen. It's been a beat. I don't think I loved any of them.
I like the first one.
Like I think
I
I
like
liked the first one, right? The whole concept was there. I think I liked the first one. Don't think I liked the third one all that much.
I didn't understand the third one because I thought at the end of the
I'm
second,
not sure they understood the third one.
the end of the second one, you had what's his name? Kind of like went back to his old life, but then like in the third one, he's back, and then it just felt like, oh, did the narrative of the second one not apply to the third? I was very confused.
Yeah, it's been a beat. Although I do know that the one the revival they tried to do with Chris
Oh, yeah.
Hemsworth and
Yeah.
Tessa Thompson did not work out so well. All right, what's next?
We got Jai CSC. How does product placement factor in a movie's film and or marketing budget?
Doesn't it's something that comes after the fact. It doesn't figure into the budget
It's
at all.
like, yeah, the cherry on top.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
George Harris says, did you hear Kate Blanchett's comments on her pay for Lord of the Rings? I'm guessing she was joking about her actual pay, but I understand the actors didn't make tons of money and that then she wasn't as big as she is now. But would you still think that she made more than scale for her part?
Guys, when you send in questions, assume I don't know what you're talking about. Did you hear what Kate Blanchett said, how much she got paid?
No.
Maybe you should mention that in the question. So I'm just giving you a hard time, but I've not heard about this. I've not read the story. I don't know what the number is, but you got to remember, whatever the number is, when they made those movies, like today, you would think, oh, I'm making Lord of the Rings movies. No. Back when they made them, it was seen as a huge risk. They really didn't know that they were going to make any money back. They really did not know. At the time when they were making those, everybody saw it as a massive gamble. No one's going to make any, like it was a tough thing. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like I remember I heard Orlando Bloom got paid very little, but then again, Orlando Bloom was a complete no name. And,
Right.
but yeah, if it's a low number, I wouldn't be surprised to hear it's a low number. It was a massive, massive gamble, that movie, that they didn't know they're going to make a single penny on it.
Yeah.
All right. In hindsight, it's easy for us to look back now, but at the time it was different. All right, let's take one more.
Okay. Reese Jones says, yesterday you mentioned that, how there's now years between seasons. It got me thinking how they need to be careful with the new Harry Potter series. We don't want the kids to be too much older than the characters.
Yeah, well, we talked about that, right? That their whole approach to the Harry Potter series is going to have to be, we are committed to all 8 seasons or 7 seasons, however many books there are.
I think, yeah, it's...
Because I think there were 8 movies.
Yeah, I think there's seven
7
years.
books, 8 movies.
Yeah.
Right. So there's going to be 1 season per book. They're going to have to just know right up in advance that they're dedicated to making all 7 seasons. And they're going to have to make them every single year. So, yeah, we've had this conversation. I think I 100% believe that knowing that they're committed to the show, they're going to have definitive schedules set up that we are shooting season 1 here, we're shooting season 2 here, we're shooting season 3 here. And then we'll see how seasons 1 and 2 go. And if those go great, then we can greenlit seasons 4, 5, and 6, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But yes, those are going to have to come out a season a year. 100% they will. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show podcast. Thank you so much for being here, making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Again, keep your guys' eyes open for our out of the theater reaction to Borderlands a little bit later. Excited about that. And of course, return again tomorrow for the John Campea Show. And tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Los Angeles time, we will start our live stream as we report and react to all the announcements coming out of the big Disney Entertainment presentation that's happening tomorrow night, where they're going to be making announcements for Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Disney Animation, all that kind of stuff. Should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys will join us. So for Ray Ora,
See you guys later.
Jonathan Voico,
See you guys tomorrow.
my name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.